You know, I'm reading this little note right here.
Huh?
You know what time it is?
No.
Story time, bitches!
Alright.
Like that little intro?
No, that was shit, actually.
Yep, gonna can it, never use it again.
Yeah.
Now, it's been established that I went to prison, and you'd think this would be a prison story time, but it's not. But it's kind of related in a way. Now, I have mentioned that when I was arrested, the cops raided my fucking place and took tons of my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Shit that didn't even make sense for them to take. Like, why do you want that book specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but then you leave every other book around it alone? Makes no fucking sense. And it's befuddled me for years now, but what can I do? It's done. That being said, it's not the first time my house has been raided.
Alright.
In fact, second time.
Alright.
Now, I wasn't a career criminal. In fact, this arrest was the first time I really broke the law, per se.
Okay.
And that's that. But that doesn't mean I stayed out of trouble of sorts. And it wasn't the stupid kind of trouble that led to prison time, but it was stupid. And back in the day, I used to have a kind of like pre-Facebook habit of sending out newsletters via email.
Alright.
So this is some old school shit here.
Yeah.
Fucking clacking away at a Mac or some shit. Type of old school. Not that old, but
Mac?
whatever. Yeah, Mac. You know what a Mac is?
Yeah, do realize Macs are still around, right?
Are they?
Yes.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I mean, they're like the okay, I'm just gonna let it go.
Macs are the most what?
Everybody knows what Macs are. That's freaking...
You're telling me fucking people use Macs.
Yes!
Where?
It's Apple's brand.
Bullshit.
The iMacs? The Macs.
I'm not talking those Macs. I'm talking Macintosh, which is the same brand, mind you.
You should have...
But I'm talking the old school, fucking big clacking keyboards, 70-inch floppy disk Macs.
You should have clarified, because you sounded like a fool saying the Macs don't exist anymore.
I didn't say that. You said that. You said they still exist, and I was like, dude, I'm making a fucking point here, and you go on some fucking rant about stupid-ass Macs. I'm not talking iMacs. I'm not talking current Macs. I'm talking the bullshit Macs that sucked ass nobody cared about.
It's like the borderline typewriter Macs.
Yeah, only thing it was good for was playing Oregon Trail. Not Oregon Trail, Oregon Trail.
Which is also a game, by the way.
It is?
Yep.
I gotta play that. But anyway, is it on Mac? The
Probably.
point is, back in the day, when I
Back
was
in the day?
when I was a youngin,
Mhm.
a whippersnapper. I wasn't that young, but it was my early 20s anyway. I had this habit of sending out newsletters to people on my email list. And it was basically the equivalent like of a month's worth of Facebook posts or some shit nowadays, you know.
Mhm.
Only more elaborate, and I actually spent time in it. Had everything from movie reviews, loser shit, you know,
Yeah.
movie reviews, updates, recommendations, what have you. Nobody read them probably, but that's okay. It filled some time for me, and it was fun. But as it turns out, apparently people did read them.
Alright.
Because one day I sent one of these little suckers out, and it was a particularly glum fucking time for me. I was very down in the dumps. I had gone through some emotional shit. We'll leave it at that. Hint, a girl was involved. Always is. But anyway, the point is, I was down in the dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent out one of these email newsletters to the assortment, the regular assortment of folks. And again, remember, it had everything. Music recommendations, links, etc. So it's not like this was the main fucking thing, the focal point of the whole newsletter. But in the newsletter, there was a little diatribe that just basically described my mental landscape at the point. And apparently it was so fucking glum, downright fucking downtrodden, that one of my former teachers who was on my email list and was already... I want to say in Houston or in Austin or some bullshit like that. She had already moved out of the city to another fucking city. Well, she got it, and she thought this guy's gonna kill himself. And she was like convinced, apparently, that this was my suicide letter, my goodbye or something. I don't know how, There was nothing in there that said anything like that.
I'm not lying. Now I know what you're talking about.
Well, it only took a Mac and a half to get there.
Pretty epic.
But the point is, it took her by the balls, even though she didn't have any,
Lady balls.
and twisted them. And she said, "Holy shit, this guy's gonna kill himself."
Mm-hmm.
So her solution to this was, mind you, I sent this newsletter off at night, and then I went to sleep. It was like 10, 11 p.m., and I went to sleep. I was like, all right, my newsletter's out. I got to go to sleep to go to work tomorrow. And she's worried and concerned, apparently, that I'm going to kill myself, which is surprising because she and I had a very antagonistic relationship. But anyway, so she calls her dad, which lives in town. Now, her dad was a youth preacher.
Mm.
So if you knew me back then, and you did because, you were around me all the time, but
Had no choice.
the point is, if you knew me back then,
Mm-hmm.
I was very anti-religious,
Mm-hmm.
and very vocally so. So already, this is a bad formula. But anyway, she calls up her pops and says, "Yo, poppers, this motherfucker's gonna pop himself.
Mm-hmm.
Pippity pop on over there
Why don't you take some pops
and call the cops."
make sure you get some sody pops.
And he did all those things.
Yeah.
Including the sody pop, and he was diabetic, and he died. End of story. No, so she calls her fucking father, and she tells him, "Hey, this dude's gonna kill himself. You need to do something." So his solution is, "I'm gonna call these cops, and that'll nip it at the bud, so to speak." Well, I'm fucking fast asleep, middle of the night. It's about I don't know, give or take 2, 3 in the morning or something. It's fucking the dead of night is what I'm saying here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever been asleep and something wakes you up, like a sixth sense.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
And you're kind of like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And your mind kind of has to catch up. Your senses catch up. And then you're like, I'm listening for something. I'm looking for something, but you can't quite pin it. Well, that was me. I'm dead asleep and all of a sudden whoa, something woke me up. What was it?
Just thinking Spidey sense was kicking.
Kickling? Yes, it was kickling.
Yep.
And I was like, what is that, man? And of course, I can't see shit because it's dark, but I'm honing in with my earbuds. That's right, my earbuds.
Yep.
I'm honing in with my ears.
That's also a thing, by the way. I don't know.
And, yeah, but there's not fucking physical earbuds on me, you fool. But anyway, I'm honing in with my ears, and I can hear voices outside my place mumbling to each other. And my first thought is, I'm getting robbed. So I very slyly creep out of bed, try to make no noise. And of course, when you try to make no noise, you make tons of noise.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I reach for a knife that I had in my bedside. And this is not like a practical knife.
No, you're talking
This is like an Egyptian looking ass knife because
Yeah.
I'm a loser that way. So
It wasn't particularly cool either.
it wasn't cool and it sucked and it would have probably broken on touch.
Yep.
But the point is, that's all it got. So I pick that bad boy up and I creep over to the back door of my place and I peek out and I just see these flashlights going everywhere and people mumbling and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Now I'm pretty sure the back door is where the people are at. So I go to the front door and I'm like, I'm going to sneak out. This is how badass I thought I was. And had this been an actual robbery, I would have been dead.
Oh.
But the point is, I thought I was all fucking cool and immortal or some shit because I was young and stupid. And I go to the front door. My plan is I'm going to go out, sneak up behind them, and catch them's unawares, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking somehow that I was going to be like Blade all of a sudden. But anyway, I go to open the front door, but then I see the lights going through the little peephole. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I kind of peek out the little peephole, and sure enough, I see lights walking, and shadows. And I'm like, oh man, the fuck is this? So, being the self-destructive asshole that I used to be, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down. So,
Seems you were thinking extremes back in the day.
Oh yeah, I was not very careful with myself. But anyway, I reached for the old doorknob, and my thought in my head was, I'm going to open this shit, and I'm going to rush out, and whatever happens, happens. Fuck it. Gung-ho. Fucking Blade.
Yeah.
So I go to open it, and I open that sucker fast, and immediately all these fucking lights are on me. And I hear, put it down! Get on the ground, get on your knees, put your hands up in the air. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it just hits me. These are fucking cops. And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I hit the ground on my knees, raised my hands up. I'm still holding this knife, and they're screaming at me. But I'm so fucking dazzled by what's going on that it's not registering that I'm holding the fucking knife, and they want me to put it down. So one of them comes in, gun, out, pointing at the floor, thankfully, not directly at me. And he goes, put the weapon down. And I'm like, what? Oh, shit. So I toss it. Put your hands on your head, what have you. They shackle me, and they sit me down in a fucking chair. And immediately, there's like 10 grillion cops in my fucking place. And they're going...
All up in your grill.
All up in my grill, going everywhere, searching every nook and cranny of the place. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea. Like I said, I might have been a self-destructive asshole, but I wasn't a criminal per se at the time. And so I was like, what the fuck? No drugs. I don't do drugs. I didn't drink. No, I had no idea why this was happening. And they sit me down and shit. Everybody's searching everything. I see them take out, because I had a bunch of like swords and shit, collectible swords, because I'm a dumbass that way. Mm-hmm. And they're just taking them out and piling them up on the fucking floor outside. And I'm like, dudes, those are fucking expensive collectibles here. Don't do that, yeah. I would say. And they didn't give a fuck, of course. And so anyway, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And eventually somebody tells me, we got a call saying that you were going to kill yourself. And I'm like, what? So the details come, and I'm like, no, man, this is what's going on. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah. So I tell them about the newsletter and me just sending it off and me going to sleep.
You basically got swatted before swatting was a thing.
Yeah, before swatting was a thing. Only, I kind of brought it on myself because I'm an idiot. But anyway, so I tell them what's up, and they don't buy it, of course, because they're cops. They're used to people lying to them. And I'm like, dudes, just check my email, because back then I would just leave it on sleep mode, I'm like, just check my email, just check it out, read it yourself. If you get that I'm gonna kill myself out of that, then cool, but go ahead. So they go to my computer, move that little mouse.
Oh no, you used to have porno on there.
Well, no, forget that.
Okay.
They move the little mouse, and they're like, hey, it's what do we do? And I'm like, oh no, it's in sleep mode. You just gotta, press the little thing. And then I forgot I had a password on it. And I'm like, fuck. So they're like, here, just, the guy goes, here, I'm gonna unshackle you. Are you gonna do anything stupid? And I'm like, nah. And he's like, okay. So already he's giving me some form of confidence, which is good for me, right? So he unshackles me, and I sit down in front of the computer, and he kind of, squats down to look at me. And he goes, what's that? And I'm like, huh? And he goes, get back. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they shackle me again. He reaches in, with a little pull-out keyboard thing. Well, I didn't use it for a keyboard. I had the keyboard on top. He pulls it out, and there's like 5 billion knives there.
All right.
And I'm like, dude, you've seen the fucking sword. You've seen the knives. I just collect this shit. He goes, did you know that was there? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And he goes, he's reluctant, but they take all the knives away, stash him outside, and he goes, I'm going to shackle you again. Are you going to, behave? And I'm like, dude, yeah, I got you. So they unshackle me, surprisingly. I punch in the little code. The screen opens. Guess what's on the screen?
Porno?
Oh no, porno would have been good.
All right.
But remember, they think I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
So of course, the last thing I looked at that day, well, what's the name of the site? It was called Gorgasm.
All right.
And it was basically a gore site. Now, before you judge me on that, I'm one of those weird guys that, not for pleasure, don't believe me, not for pleasure, but I'll look at fucked up videos and just be in awe at the horrible lengths that humanity will go to. It just shocks me, man. I can't. It's kind of like that weird, craning at the side of an accident thing. Only there's no pleasure in it. It's more like a cautionary tale of the ultimate sort. Like, fucking shit, I can't believe. Like, even you are like, sometimes I tell you, like, man, I saw this video and this happened. And you're like, why the fuck do you watch it then? I'm like, I can't understand. I'm like,
personally, I don't condone that, but all right.
It's fucking insane.
I mean,
to
I
me.
understand like the curiosity aspect. Like sometimes you're like, but
it's not curiosity.
It's something I'll seek out.
It's like red pill shit. Like, fuck, man, the fucking world is fucked type of shit. But anyway, That's what was up on the screen. So this is not doing me any favors in terms of this guy doesn't want to kill himself. And he's like, what's this? And I'm like,
I mean,
it's the side I was looking at. Let me let me reduce that window. So
then you close the window, and right behind it is how to build a noose.
Well, no, there was a porno, but that's beside the point. The point is, I bring up the email, he reads it, and he feels like it's kind of inconclusive. And I'm like, come on, dude, it's just somebody that's sad and, you know, kind of down on his luck. Look at it. I mean, there's nothing in here that says any of that. And he goes, well, I don't know, man. I think maybe you should look into it. You know, what do you think? And he's trying to convince me now that I should play along, so to speak, right? Well, as this is happening, somebody is searching the kitchen area, which is adjacent to where we're at. And the guy comes out, and I used to work with in warehousing, so I had box cutter blades everywhere. Mm-hmm. You remember this? They're still around.
Yeah.
There was like thousands of box cutter blades.
They had a whole bowl full of box cutter blades.
And that's what they found.
All right.
They found a bowl full of box cutter blades, half of them open because I thought it looked cool because I'm a stupid edgelord like that.
Yeah.
And they come in and they're like, hey, look what we found. And I'm like, well, fuck me. That doesn't look good at all.
Nope.
So this fucker says, look, man, we're going to have to take you in. Either we arrest you or you volunteer to get help. So basically my two options were I was going to be arrested, put through the process, and I'd have that in my history, which, unbeknownst to me, it would have probably been the better option, considering what happened years later. But the other option was I would have to voluntarily commit myself to psychiatric evaluation. So I'm thinking, oh, that's
not fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh, that's the best option. I'm thinking at the time, and I go, oh, fuck, man. I didn't do anything wrong, so fuck it. Yeah. So this involves them calling a fucking ambulance. By the way, this is hours that pass in this whole process, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
I remember this.
A whole fucking ambulance situation comes in. By then it's morning and the neighbors are out.
It was still dark, but it was the morning.
Yeah. And neighbors are out. The place is cordoned off. A fucking ambulance comes in. And I'm like, what the fuck? They shackle me. They take me to the ambulance. They strap me into a gurney.
And I remember they walk of shame you through our home. So we're just like confused.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, well, this is a thing that's happening.
I get put in the fucking amb and off I go.
Yep.
And I end up in fucking
Pescadero.
Pescadero Mental Institute. No, I end up in the local psych ward for one of the hospitals here. And anyway, they take you in. They made me wait for fucking forever to even be processed. And I'm waiting so fucking long there that I'm like, I wonder what my parents are doing. I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder when they'll get here. Because in my mind, I should be out of here immediately. Because fuck this. I didn't do shit other than write something that had nothing to do with the way it was read. Anyway, I'm like, oh, fuck me. This is horrible. So I'm waiting there in the waiting room. And I go up to the nurse lady, secretary. And I go, hey, I'm not even kidding about this. I go, hey, can I go get a fresh breath of fresh air? Because I'm kind of been in here forever. And she says, hold on, let me ask the officer. Because they left an officer behind to look over me. And she buzzes the officer and she's like, can he do this? And he comes in, he pops a little head in and he goes, don't go anywhere. Just go right outside. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, man. I'll do that. So I go outside, and I'm kind of waiting there for like a couple of minutes, right? And he pops his head out, from inside the hospital. He pops his head out, and he goes, okay, just checking if you're still here. The moment he pops his head back in, I fucking hightail it like a dumbass.
That's a good idea.
I fucking leave. But see, my goal was I got to get to a phone to call the old rants to get the asses over here because fuck, this shit is getting out of control. Not even thinking about the circumstances and the consequences of running from a cop, basically, without his knowledge. So I hightail it.
Not to mention, in regular, in most cases, they would put you on extreme lockdown for running away from psychiatric help.
Yeah. So I run the fuck away, right? And I head towards the parking lot area of this hospital psych ward situation here. And I go in the parking lot. I find an emergency phone, but I can't find a way to dial out from it. So I go upstairs and upstairs. I finally get to one of the higher levels of the parking lot, and I find an actual payphone. And thankfully, I fucking had a couple of quarters, you know, that little second pocket in your jeans. Yeah. So boom, I call, and you know, I'm like, hey, the fuck? Mom tells me I'm here with this dude.
Yeah, that dude.
AKA the preacher guy that called the cops on me to begin with. Where are you? I tell her. She says, we're headed over there. I'm like, oh, thank crap. Boom. You know, put the old clicker down, and I glance outside of the parking lot down to the parking, the little shrubberies and shit in front of the psych ward. And there's like a roundabout in front of it, and there's cops driving around that thing. There's cops everywhere looking in bushes and shit. Cops just fucking everywhere. And I go to myself, fuck, that's because of me. And that really fucking sucks. So I wait up there, man. Somehow nobody ever comes up into the parking lot to search for me. That's weird. But I wait up there, and eventually I see Mom's car drive up, and she was with the grandma. You were there, and this fucking preacher dude, which up to that point I didn't know what he looked like or anything. But I see them, and I see them come by the parking lot area, and that's when I rush out to, you know, come in contact with him. The moment I rush out, I'm fucking tackled to the ground by cops from everywhere, like fucking ninjas and shit. And they sit me down, they shackle me again, and they tell me, what the fuck are you doing, you dumb shit? Rightfully so. And I get escorted back into the psych ward, where I undergo these long, lengthy fucking questions and weigh-ins and blood tests and all this crap.
It's not good.
It sucks. It sucks because no matter what you say, they don't believe you.
Yeah, and they treat you like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like completely stupid.
Which, granted, up to this point, I've earned the label of dumbass, but I was like, no. This is fucking stupid right here. So,
which is funny because that kind of behavior actually just makes everything worse. Or like thinking that, you know, like,
you'd think so.
No. This is just
but
gonna
in this
make them go.
case, I decided to be the most antagonistic asshole I could be, and at the same time be condescending as fuck. Unfortunately, I got like a waitress from like Minnesota that's been there forever, type of grumpy lady, interviewing me. She doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't care. She's jaded. She doesn't give two shits what I have to say.
I listened to a lot of Cumbia Kings over the years.
Yeah, she's given no shits about what I have to say. So so she's asking me. She's basically decided you're gonna kill yourself, and I'm like, look, I'm fucking telling you, it's not the fucking case here. Then oh man, this is cringe shit right here. Oh, no. Like a dumbass, I start quoting movies.
Oh no,
left and right. But I'm not like trying to be cool. I'm just trying to be like rebellious. Like, fuck it, you're not gonna listen to me. I'm just gonna be saying stupid shit then. And then she what did she say? I forgot exactly what she said, but basically it was along the lines of, if you're gonna do this, then we might as well call it quits right here, and this is what's gonna happen. So, deadline, line in the sand, right? So I go, okay, well, tell you what does it take for me to get out of here? And she goes, you can leave. And I'm like, what? And she goes, you can leave. You volunteered to come here. You can leave. I'm like, are you saying to me right now that I could just fucking leave if I choose to? And she's like, yeah, you volunteered to come here. Then I want to leave. And she goes, okay. Close the little booklet. And I'm like, well, what do I have to do? And she says, oh, just sign right here. And, you know, put the old John Hancock on there. And I walk into the waiting area where Mom, Grandma, and you are at.
Cock in hand.
And I go, let's go. Oh, and then the preacher guy, of course, is there. I go, let's go. And the cop's like, hey, what do you think you're doing? And I'm like, they just let me go right now. He asked the lady, and she's like, yeah, he can go. And he's like, huh? Even they're confused at this whole fucking endeavor. And I'm like, yeah, let's fucking get out of here. So we fucking leave. And as we're walking towards the car, I realize that this extra person, this preacher guy that I haven't met before, is tagging along.
Oh, yeah, he is.
And I'm like, what's the fuck's with that?
What up with that, ho?
He introduces himself as my former teacher's father and youth preacher. And I'm like, oh, no. This has just begun. But that's for part 2. Because this was part 1. The Raid. Stay tuned for part 2. Story time of my strange life.
This raid is considerably less exciting than the Raid film, which we might review at some point.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely not the Raid movie. This is more like the Raid as in the can of bug spray. Yeah. The movie. But anyway, stay tuned for part 2 where I tell you about my exorcism.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got to give him a little bit of a teaser there.
That's right. I have been exorcised by a preacher.
Clearly not.
Clearly it didn't work.
Yeah, clearly not actual exercise.
But the point is, stay tuned for part 2 of The Raid. Exercise, not exercise. The sequel, part 2. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, hit those notification buttons, because we're out.